Hello. Hi, everybody. I logged in a couple of minutes early to give people a chance to find the live stream. I see there's a couple, two, three of you here already. Hello. Thanks for being here. I'm going to just hang out and talk for a minute until it's time to start. If you have any questions about anything, I'm happy to hear from you in the comments. I'm also happy to know where you are. Where are you watching from today? All right. The time has come. All right. Oh my, I've lost my screen. Here it is. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm waiting just a minute. I logged in a little bit early. If you're watching, let me know where you're watching from. How is the weather at your place today? My weather today is nice. It rained. We had some storms, and there was some reports of hail and stuff a few nights ago, but today it's nice. It's clear and sunny and neither cold nor warm, just comfortable. South Lake, Texas, near Dallas. Hello, me forward. How are you? Very good. Welcome. All right. Well, I think I'll go ahead and get started. It's 12 now here at my place. Yep, it surely is. So I'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here. I was thinking about this, and I really would like to thank you all for being here, not only on the live stream, but here on my channel in general, because, since the pandemic happened and since, my yoga teaching changed so much, we had to close the physical studio space and, convert to online classes, and I started putting more attention into this YouTube channel and posting videos more regularly. People have been interested, and I'm so happy that you all are here and watching my videos and posting comments and letting me know how it's going for you, because it gives me a new way to teach. It's given me a new way to help people, to connect with people, and that's why I do what I do. Overall, regardless of if I'm teaching in person or if I'm teaching on YouTube or in my live classes or through my Patreon, practice calendar, private instruction, all of it. The common denominator there for me is that those are all ways that I help people. So I'm grateful for all of you being here, and watching my videos and supporting my channel. So thank you. Got a couple of more people joining. Lisa says it's gorgeous in Atlanta after a night of storms. So many storms lately, and Amy's here too. Hi, Amy. Very good, and MR is here. Oh, yay, you're here live. Yay, very exciting. Okay, good. Okay, so let me regroup now. I've done the introduction. I'm hoping to start doing these live streams every Friday. I may miss a Friday here and there, of course, because life happens and stuff. But for the most part, I'm going to be trying to do this on Fridays at this time and talking about different topics. I get so much food for thought from the comments that people post under my videos. So many questions and things that I would like to be able to reply to in a little bit more nuanced and lengthy way than I can if I'm typing a response in the comments. So, please do keep your comments coming, and you can also message me, via Facebook, or you can email me and let me know if you have any topics that you want me to talk about. But this being the first in this series of Friday live streams, or maybe it's not a series, but it's just kind of a new thing that I'm doing, I thought that I would take some time to introduce myself. And it feels a little bit funny to me to introduce myself because I feel like I talk to y'all all the time and I feel like you already know everything about me. But on some level, I know that you don't. And it's probably a good thing to do a real introduction so that you can know a little bit more about, why I do what I do. Like, how did I get to this point in my life where I'm teaching yoga in this particular way that I do on this format, on YouTube. So that's my main topic for today. All right, and if you have any questions related to this or anything, please post them. I'll answer them either as I'm talking, or we can hold them for the end, just depending on the topic. So let me start in the beginning. I am originally from Texas. I was born and raised in South Texas, very close to the border with Mexico. And I went to school in the South Texas area, and then after and college too. And then once I graduated from college, I moved to California, and I worked at Hewlett Packard for about 5 years. My degree is in engineering. I studied manufacturing engineering, believe it or not, and I find that work to be really fun and really rewarding. And I did that kind of work for 10 years, so 5 years at HP in California. And then, in fact, I kind of switched over to technical marketing when I moved to Texas. And I worked at Dell, and I did marketing for a while. And I really enjoyed that kind of work. My brain likes that kind of stuff. But I knew somehow that I needed to change gears and do something different, because I have always felt that I wanted to help people more directly in some kind of way. And so, in the end, what's happened is that I help people by teaching yoga. But anyway, so I lived in California for 5 years. And when I graduated from college and moved to California, and I was like earning money for the first time, like earning my money that I could spend the way that I wanted to spend it, I decided right away that I wanted to try yoga. I wanted to practice yoga, and I didn't exactly know why, but yoga had somehow always been something that was in my mind as something that I wanted to do. So in California, I went to a yoga studio and was completely intimidated and nervous and scared, but at the same time, I wanted to do it, and so I went. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a pretty determined and maybe even stubborn person when it comes to doing things. And even if I wanted to do this and I felt intimidated, the desire to do it was stronger than the intimidation that I felt. And so I continued and continued practicing yoga. Some of you will have heard about my first experience with yoga before, because I talk about it every once in a while. But what happened, long story short, is that I was going to these classes intimidated, by all the fit people in the class, and then, feeling like I didn't fit in. And then only probably a few months into my yoga practice did I realize that the reason all these people were so fit is because they were the Stanford swimming team. And the yoga teacher was also a Pilates teacher, and he was, one of their trainers as they were preparing for the Olympics. And so, you can get an idea of how, extremely fit these people were who were in the classes with me. And I later saw them swimming in the Olympics. But anyway, that was my introduction to yoga. And, I told you that I was working in high tech. I was working at Dell, and I was right out of college. So I was like 22, 23 years old. But everyone else who I was working with, they were adults. They were like in their 40s and 50s and 60s. And I'm seeing some more comments coming in. I had overcome that insecurity and that anxiety that I had about going to the first yoga classes, and was really starting to experience some benefits. My mind previously, and even now, has a tendency to go really fast and think of lots of things, and I get sidetracked and I forget what I'm doing, and I'm like doing all the things but never actually finish one thing. It was much, much worse when I was younger and before I practiced yoga. And I saw that as I was getting into my yoga practice, that I was much more able to concentrate and begin a task and see it through and complete it before getting distracted and moving to another task. So there was that. And I realized that I was feeling much less judgmental toward myself and toward other people. And, all of these subtle benefits that I was experiencing, I knew would also be beneficial to the other people who I work with, like all the benefits from yoga. I wanted somehow, I was hoping that somehow my new friends, right, the people who I was working with, might be willing to try yoga. But I knew that in that environment that I experienced, with the the swimming team, like my coworkers would never go into such an environment. Like it just wouldn't be comfortable. They just wouldn't do it. And so from that very beginning of my experience with yoga, I had the feeling that one day somehow I would like to share yoga in a way that people with all kinds of bodies would be willing to practice, feel welcome to practice, feel like it's something that they can do. And, fast forward so many years later, eventually that's what I came to. So I'm going to take a pause right here so I can read some of these comments that are coming in. And then after I do that, I will come back to my yoga training. Okay, Hildy's here. Hello. Darshana's here from Sri Lanka. Hello. We are from all over the globe. Yep, that's right. Perry's here. Hi, Perry. It's nice weather we're having today. Noelia is here. Oh, from Tijuana. Hi, I've been there before. Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. When I used to work at HP, I told you I was working in manufacturing, and HP was working with a company in Tijuana, and so I would go there sometimes. Is that right? No, that's not right. Tijuana's across from California. I was going to Juarez, another border town. But yeah, I have traveled on the Mexican border before. So hello, Noelia. And Laura's here. Hello. Laura's from Chicago. And Sharon is here too. Hi, everybody. Okay. Welcome, everyone. So let me get back to my story. So I was telling you about my first experience with yoga. And so I continued to live in California. And during that time, I was young. I was trying different styles of yoga practice. So I moved on from that first place. And I went to another place that had hot yoga. So I practiced that for a while. And then I went to a different place that taught hot yoga. And I did that for a while. And then in 2005, I moved from California back to Texas, where I live now in Central Texas, so that we could afford to buy a home. And so I moved to Texas, and actually I took a year off from working because by that time already, I knew that I didn't want to work in high tech anymore, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. So I just took some time. I had the luxury of being able to take a year off and think about it. And then I still didn't figure it out after a year. So I was like, okay, I've got to work. And since I had experience in high tech, then I said, Dell is here in this town. This city where I live. Round Rock is I think it's the worldwide capital of Dell. Not capital, but you know what I mean, headquarters. Anyway, so I interviewed and eventually got a job at Dell and worked there for about 5, maybe 6 years. But somehow, while I was working at Dell, I decided that I wanted to study to become a yoga teacher. And so I found one of the main studios in Austin that was well reputed, and I went and I did my initial 200-hour yoga teacher training at this place while I was still working at Dell. And while I was in that teacher training, which probably took about 8 or 9 months, during that time, so my husband is Indian, and we were going to travel to India to visit his family. And so I asked my teachers in yoga teacher training, I said, hey, I'm going to India. So if I'm going to India and I'm going to this particular state, do you know a good place where I could go to study yoga? And one of my teachers recommended KYM, the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, which you probably have heard me talk about before. And so during that span of when I was doing my teacher training here in Texas, I visited KYM, and I took about a week's worth of private instruction. Just daily, I would go for a 1-hour session, and really got sorry, my word got stuck there. I got a new impression of what yoga could be, very different from how we practice yoga in the US, because at KYM, the vast majority of their teaching is yoga therapy. It's one-on-one yoga instruction that's completely customized to the individual person. And so that fit very well with my idea of offering yoga in a way that would feel comfortable for people. And So from the very beginning of my teaching, I graduated from my 200-hour teacher training program at the beginning of 2008. And from the very beginning of my teaching, I already had an idea about customizing the practice. And whereas in India, they were teaching everybody one-on-one, in the US, that it's not commonly done. So I was teaching small groups. When I made my first studio, I found a space that was quite small, so that I'd have not more than 10 people, and I could really keep an eye on everybody and make sure that I was teaching in a way that would work for all the people. Yeah, so that's the beginning of that. Let me pause here. I see more comments happening, and then I'll come back to my story. Perry says, how long did it take you to get more flexible, like in the sitting forward fold? I think that probably naturally I've always been pretty flexible. In fact, too flexible. I did get into some trouble a few years ago where it was actually after I had it was right around the time when I had my second son. The body changes during pregnancy. There's hormones and you become more flexible. And with my yoga practice and the hormones, I actually became too flexible to the point of hurting my SI joint, which is in the back of the pelvis. And lately, the last probably 2 or 3 years, I've been working on reducing my flexibility so that my body is healthier. But yeah, generally people can improve their flexibility, with consistent practice. It's gradual, of course. We gradually become more flexible, but maybe even in a month, you start to see some improvement. Yeah. Leslie's here. Hi, Leslie. Dull and drizzly and cold. Okay. I think I've asked you this before. Do you pronounce your name Kifra or Kifra? I have an interest in learning yoga therapy other than going to India. What are some good ways? That's a good question. Let me make myself a note and get back to you. I don't know yoga therapy schools in the US. If you can, send me an email. Kifra, okay. Send me an email if you can. That way I can follow up with you and we can talk about yoga therapy programs. info@rryogaroom.com. I'll post it later. Okay, so I was telling you about, where was I? Came back here, did yoga teacher training. Oh yeah, and opened my first studio. That was 2010. So in 2010, I opened my first studio, and it was just me to begin with. In fact, 1 year before that, I was teaching out of my car. What I mean is I had a Prius, and I had all my yoga props in the back, like blankets and blocks and bolsters and a whole bunch of stuff. And once per week, I rented a space in a ballet studio, and I would go to the ballet studio, sweep the floors, unpack all my props, wait for the students to show up, check them all in, teach the class, and then, pack everything back into the car. And I did that for a year. And so that's how I got started. And then when I had, consistent students who were coming to see me every week, then I realized that it would be kind of a safe choice or a safe next step to open a little yoga studio. So I found my small space, started teaching, and then, started to bring on more teachers. And Angela, who, still teaches it, with me now, was one of the first yoga teachers that I hired. She may have been the very first who I hired. And so it just kind of grew from there. And then in 2013-ish, we were kind of outgrowing our space, and there was talk of the building perhaps getting demolished due to a road construction project that was planned. And so I made the decision to move, and we expanded into another space which had 2 rooms, so we could have 2 classes going on at the same time. And it just kind of slowly grew and grew, and so there we were in our two-room studio until March of last year, when we had to close it down and go online. And then eventually in I think it was November, I decided, it was the end of the lease, and I decided to let go of the space because I didn't know how long COVID would continue, and I was paying rent on the space all of those months and not being able to use it. And so anyway, right now we're kind of, homeless. We're without a permanent home of our own, but we're still teaching. We still have our community here locally, and now, the YouTube community that I was, at the very beginning of this video, in case you've joined, since I said this. I'm so grateful for all of you being here and having this way to connect with people and to help people with yoga. So thank you very much, all of you, for being here. So so I guess the last bit that I haven't told you about yet is when I went back to India. So in, what was that? Like, I think 2017, or maybe it was 2016, my husband and I and our kids went to visit India again to visit his family, and I stopped by KYM. It was like 10 years after the first time that I'd been, and I had kids and moved, and so much life happened in that span of time. But I went back, and I won't even get into all the details, but long story short, I found out that they were going to have an international yoga teacher training program starting like the next year, like I think it was January of 2017. And in my mind, immediately I knew that I needed to do that, and I didn't know how I was going to make it happen, because I have young kids and they need me here at home, and my studio and all the stuff. But I was like, I need to do that. I don't know how, but I'm going to do it. And so I did. I signed up for that and did it, and it was a 500-hour yoga teacher training program, and it spans, their international programs span over 18 months. And the way it works is that you go for 1 month, and then you go home for like 8 or 9 months, and then you come back for another 1 month, and you do that 3 times. So for that first 500-hour course, I spent a total of around 3 months, about probably 13, 14 weeks in India, doing the training. And really, like, I thought I knew what I was doing before I did that course, but that course really like turned everything upside down for me. And for a while, I felt like I didn't know how to teach because I had learned so many new things and realized some mistakes that I was making before. Maybe not mistakes, but anyway, like an evolution of my teaching. And then I completed that, and I knew I wanted more. And then I found out that they were going to be offering an international yoga therapy program. And so I signed up for that, and I did the first module of that in 2019. And then I was due to go back in March of 2020. And the day that, like, COVID was already, like, we were getting news of that, right? The day of my flight, when I was scheduled to go to India for the second module of the course, I made the really difficult decision to not go. I was like, I can't, at that time, knowing what we knew, I said, I can't go to India not knowing whether I'll be quarantined and not able to come back, especially because of my kids. I can't go to India for like my 5-week course and then come back and get quarantined. And at that time, we didn't even know for how long. And I thought that was too much risk to take on. So I decided not to go. And what ended up happening is that many people realized that they couldn't go to the course, and they ended up canceling it like after the first week or so. And so, and then, all the students who had showed up had to go home. And now they have kind of reorganized everything a little bit, given that we still can't travel. And I just started the second module. It's offered online right now. And so I'll be doing that for the rest of this year, meeting with my teachers in India twice a week to learn all of the content from module 2. So that just started, and I started watching the first video last night, and I'm really excited to continue learning. It keeps everything fresh for me, and it keeps me in a beginner's mind. It keeps me from getting too confident, thinking that I know what I'm doing. When I'm studying with my teachers in India, I realize how little I know. Anyway, so that's the whole story about how I came to this current day. I came to do what I'm doing right now. Let me come back over here and read some comments. Lisa's done a super chat. Thank you, Lisa. That's very kind. What did you say here? I'm a beginner yogi, but curious. Okay. Yeah. So Lisa's asking about when you're a beginner and how do you advance in your yoga practice? That's a really good question. That will be a really long answer. Let me come back to it here in just a second. Let me read these other comments. Okay, Lisa's also asking about hot yoga. Hot yoga, there's like a brand name of hot yoga. It's called Bikram. And I don't know, there's some, if you Google Bikram yoga, it's Bikram, you'll find all kinds of news about them. There's been, positive and negative news about that. But it was kind of like, I'm not sure, trademarked or something like that. Bikram itself is a series of, I want to say 26 postures, and it's taught in the same order every time. And I believe you do everything twice. And it's taught in a room that's 105 degrees Fahrenheit, so extremely hot. It's like probably 30 something Fahrenheit, Celsius, extremely hot. And then some people got in trouble for calling their teaching Bikram without like registering or something with the Bikram organization. I'm not exactly sure. So some people teach what's called hot yoga, and it's essentially the same as Bikram, but maybe with just a couple of changes. So that's what that is. And those classes are typically 90 minutes long. And what else can I tell you? They're very intense. You're encouraged not to leave the room. So if you get overheated or whatever, you're supposed to stay in there and rest. And there was one more thing I was going to tell you. Oh, yes. I would say, from my perspective, that hot yoga is not appropriate for all people. If you are in cancer treatment, if you're pregnant, if you have anything else going on where you would be affected by overheating, that probably is not the right practice for you. Another risk in my mind with this practice is that because it's so hot in the room, so warm, and your muscles get warm, people are often at risk of overstretching because the muscles are extremely warmed up. So, I have heard of a lot of injuries that have occurred in the hot yoga practice. So there's my 2 cents about the hot yoga and the Bikram. Yeah. Kiefer was saying it must have been such a hassle to pack and unpack. It was so much. But the worst part, the hardest part of that experience when I was, packing all the props in the car and driving them around, the most difficult thing is that the dance studio, the ballet studio, it was, for children, and they're really into like the sparkly costumes with glitter and all of that. So there was always glitter everywhere. And then all my props got covered in glitter. And to this day, I really, really dislike glitter because of that experience. So my kids know that if we're going, if we're going to go buy a greeting card for somebody, I avoid all of the cards that have glitter. And it's because of that experience. It was a great space, though. It was very spacious with a nice floor and all of that. There were lots of pros to to that space that I rented, but the one con was all of the glitter. Yeah, it is. It's so difficult to get it off. It just like sticks and you can't get it off of your skin or your clothes or whatever. Okay, the cloud is our new home. Yeah, that is true. That's true. I do really enjoy teaching people in person, but if it's not possible to teach in person, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to teach online. Amy says, my dedication to yoga and my students is amazing. Oh, thank you, Amy. Yeah. I just like helping people. That makes me happy. It makes me happy to help people. Before, one small part of the story that I didn't elaborate into is that I thought that I wanted to become a doctor. I thought, when I was in high school and I was getting ready to go to college, I thought that I wanted to study medicine. And in fact, I wanted to study biomedical engineering for like prosthetics. Long story short, it wasn't possible for me to study that. And so I studied manufacturing instead. But even from a very young age, I felt that I wanted to help, people in that kind of way, like people with disabilities, people, just wanted to help people, So I'm glad that even now at, how old am I, 45, that that has stayed true for me all of these years. Noelia says, got to go. Okay. Yep, I will be here on Fridays, except I'm not sure if I'll be here next Friday, but I will see you again, Noelia. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Leslie's asking, when am I setting off in my RV? Yes, that is why I may not be here next Friday. We actually were on a camping, I say camping, but we camp in an RV, and it's actually a really big one. It's like an apartment on wheels. And we were camping last week. We went to South Padre Island, which is in South Texas. And the weather was not sunny and nice, but it's always nice to, I think, get out and go camping and see something new. So we did that last week. And then next Friday, we're getting ready to go on an extended trip. So yeah, do any of y'all live near the places that we're going? I'm going first to the Palm Springs area. So we're leaving here on Friday next week, and it'll probably take us 3 days to get there. And I'll be in Palm Springs for 2 weeks, and then we're going to Sedona, and I'll be there for about 2 weeks. And then we're going to Santa Fe, and I'll be there for 2 weeks. And after that, I'm not sure if we're coming home or if we're just going to stay on the road for a while longer. We don't actually have a reason to be back home until like middle to the end of June. So we'll see. But I'm going to kind of, what do you call this, batch videos, like make many videos next week. That way I have content to keep posting even while we're traveling. I do teach from my camper, and I sometimes record videos from there, but I prefer to record my videos in this room if I can, just because it's a little bit more spacious. So yeah, so the short answer, Leslie, is next Friday is when we're going somewhere again. Yeah. Laura says, will your yoga teacher trainings be offered online? This is a great question. So in the US, we have this organization called Yoga Alliance, and they're kind of the self-appointed governing body of yoga teacher training, and that's who I register my course with. You don't have to register your course with anyone. I could just offer teacher training, in general. Anyway, historically, Yoga Alliance has never allowed online teaching until the pandemic, and then they kind of changed the rules a little bit and allowed online teaching. So this last batch of teacher training, my graduates who just graduated like 2 weeks ago, we did a lot of their training online. So I've got some good experience in how to do that. And the tail end of the instruction, like, I don't know, the last probably like 30 hours, I felt was very important to do in person so that we can do things that are just better taught in person, like practice teaching, learning about modifications, learning how to use props, all of that. The quality of the instruction, I feel, is much better in person. So going forward, I need to understand what Yoga Alliance's rules are now about online instruction. I would love to continue teaching at least, all of the content that makes sense to teach virtually, and then maybe have an intensive 2 weeks or something where people can travel here or travel somewhere where we decide to host it, to do that last bit of training that's best done in person. So yeah, if you're interested in teacher training, Laura or anybody, you please go ahead and email me, because I have an interest list for the next batch. I'm not sure when it will start. I need to start organizing that, but email me please at info@rryogaroom.com so that I can start kind of getting a list together of people who to contact once I get it organized. Me forward. I wonder if that's how you pronounce it. Do you pronounce that as me forward? Her daughter is named Sedona. Nice. Okay, Katie. Afternoon. Yay. Can't believe it's been a year. Yeah, you've been practicing with me for a long time. Safe travels. Okay, thank you. Yes. Oh, okay, MR, we should connect. Maybe we can get together when I'm driving through from Sedona to Santa Fe. My teaching encourages mindful breathing more than any class I've ever attended. I've been doing yoga for years, but I'm seeing such a benefit from this. Okay, yes, and that is I would say, characteristic of the Krishnamacharya tradition, because we link the breath to the movement. We inhale while bringing the arms to this position, and exhale while bringing the arms down. And you hear me often talk about coordinating the pace of the breath and the movement. Like, we're not supposed to inhale and abruptly get to the position, or exhale and abruptly move down. And that's just like, it's just intrinsic to this style of teaching. And I also didn't know about this level of mindfulness until I started, doing my training in India. And I think that it's extremely valuable. I think that the word mindfulness gets thrown around a lot in the West. And I think oftentimes people think they're teaching something mindful, but it's not actually mindful. I think there's a lot of that going on. But once you experience this style of teaching and this type of mindfulness, then you get it. Like, we don't understand until we actually do it ourselves. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of benefit there. And I'm sure you've heard me talk about all the benefits that come from practicing in a mindful way, like being really present, really noticing the quality of your breath. Am I breathing smoothly? Is there any blockage? You can also be mindful about how your body is feeling. Like this morning I was doing my practice, and just like really noticing how with each repetition, a forward fold or whatever it is, with each repetition, if you're really paying attention, you can feel the changes happening in your body. Like within 30 seconds, you can notice, okay, my body's more mobile. The pain is reducing. It's more flexible. Oh, okay, now I can move with ease. It's really incredible. But oftentimes, all of that happens without us paying attention, because our mind has wandered off and we're thinking about something else. But if we can keep our mind, present and mindful, we get the physical benefit and the mental benefit and the nervous system benefit all at the same time. Okay, good. Me forward. Okay, I got it. It's very positive and uplifting. I'll remember that now. Thank you. Me forward. Love it. It's very good. Okay, so I think that about covers the whole introduction. Now you know everything there is to know. And I briefly mentioned, but I have a husband and I have 2 children. They're boys, and right now they are 10 and 12. And they're like my second job. Being a mom is like a whole second job as compared to any other kind of jobs that we have in life. So yeah, I am very busy, and I'm grateful. One silver lining of the pandemic is that I don't have to commute anywhere, and I can do my work right here from this room inside my house. And so that almost makes it feel like I have a little bit more time in the day because I don't have to drive anywhere. Yeah. Okay, good. Any other questions before we wrap it up today? Don't forget my dogs. Oh yeah, yes. Cooper is right here sleeping by me. I'll just let him sleep. He likes to sleep all day. Cooper is my Yorkie, and he is going to be 15 years old next week. And my other dog, Presley, he was older. He was 15 and a half, and he passed away in November. And he had a very long life, and he was more human than dog. He had a real personality, and brought us lots of happiness. And then, just like everybody, all of our bodies will expire at some point, and it was just Presley's time. So he passed away at the end of November. Yeah, and Cooper has become, I think, much more spoiled since then. The groomer came this morning, and I'm just going to show you because he had a haircut, and he's super cute right now. Come here, Cooper. Come here. The groomer has to come to our house, but look at him. He just had a haircut. Look how short his hair is. He's so cute. He's like, what's going on, Mom? Anyway, yes, this is my furry family member, Cooper. Okay, Leslie says, until I started practicing with you, I never realized that breath work and mindfulness came from yoga. Yeah. Breath work is a new kind of buzzword that I'm seeing a lot. I'm going to have to do some research because I'm interested to know what exactly they're teaching and how close it is to traditional pranayama practice from yoga. Don't forget to like the video. Yes, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, thank you. If you, enjoy he is blind and he's also deaf. And my other dog was also blind and deaf. if you enjoy the videos, which I hope you do, it does help me a lot if you like the videos, because it's just how YouTube works. If videos get lots of likes, then they share the videos more. So I appreciate you liking the videos. And one other thing I was going to say, oh yeah, recently many of you have been, well, I won't say many, but several of you have been sharing my videos on your own social media pages, and that also helps me a lot. So thank you for that. Oftentimes I see that when people share my content, or they share like, I'm practicing with Zelinda and this is the benefits that I'm gaining from the practice, suddenly I get a whole bunch of new subscribers on my channel and new followers on Instagram and on Facebook. So I appreciate, sorry, there's fur flying. I appreciate every time that y'all share my content. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, he did get a buzz cut this morning. I didn't expect that his hair was going to be cut this short, but this is what happened. So I guess it's fine. Haircut like David Bowie. Yes. Yeah. This morning, I'll just tell you one last thing, and then we can wrap it up. But this morning, I was interviewed for a podcast. It was very exciting. I've never done anything like that before, and the groomer was also scheduled to come. So I met her before the interview started, and I said, here's Cooper, and please cut his hair like this, and please don't put any fragrances on him. And she was like, okay, got it. And she took him, and she has like a van, and she groomed him in the van. And I asked her, I said, I don't know how long the interview is going to last, so please just open the front door and come in and put Cooper inside whenever you're finished. And so she did. And then after the podcast interview was finished, I went to go look for him. And I was like, oh my gosh, your hair is so short. But it's fine. I didn't expect it was going to be this short. There's something sticky in his hair. All right. Oh, Bernie's here now. Hi, Bernie. First time I've caught a live. Yay! Okay, good. And the video will post here in just a little bit when we wrap up. So if you want to go back and learn all about my history of yoga, you can watch the recording of this live stream. Okay, I think that's all, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Next Friday, depending on the time that we actually leave from here for our road trip, I may or may not do a live stream, but I'll let you know 1 or 2 days ahead of time so that you can join me if you're free. And if you have any requests for topics, please let me know. I'm happy to talk about any kind of thing related to yoga. So that's it for today. Thank you all again very much for being here in the live stream and on my channel, supporting my channel. I appreciate you very much. All right, have a nice weekend, and I will see you soon. All right, oh, Cindy's here too. Hi, Cindy. All right, bye everybody. Have a good one.